What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In this video, we are jumping into Immortal X-Men issue number 14. At this point, the Fall of X is in full effect. 250,000 mutants have disappeared from Krakoa. Charles Xavier believes them all to be dead, and now he has put himself into exile. The only remaining person left on Krakoa. While he sits in his solitude, we get to see the likes of Sebastian Shaw. We know that he made some deals with Mother Righteous, and now we get to see exactly how all of that unfolds. But the ending of this comic is the biggest reveal so far. I'm not going to give any spoilers away, we'll talk about it once we reach it. And before we dive headfirst into this comic, I do want to let you guys know that next week, from the 13th to the 17th, I will be taking vacation. That means the comics next week, like X-Men Red, they're gonna be a little bit late. Instead of releasing on Wednesday like we usually do with Marvel Comics, it'll probably come out on Friday. As soon as I get back from vacation, I will definitely get that video out to you guys. But while I'm away, there will be plenty of full stories, so on and so forth, to keep you guys occupied until I do return. Now, make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so we are diving weeks later from the Fall of X. The Hellfire Gala, it is in the rearview mirror. We pick up on Krakoa, a population of 1. And I know many people have wondered, is this actually true? Is Xavier the only mutant on Krakoa? And what we saw before the Fall of X was Cypher. Doug had got sucked into Krakoa. So yes, technically there are 2 people on Krakoa, but we don't really know what happened with Doug. We're all assuming that Krakoa put it down in the pit, and he's keeping Doug safe, because Doug is his only means of communication. It is the only way that he can talk to the outside world. But as we look upon Charles, we see that these weeks have not been kind to him. He has felt the full weight of mutant kind dying. 250,000 mutants that he believes he is responsible for killing, taking control of them and leading them all into the gateways. But what he didn't know is that Orchis did something. He's not sure what they did, but he can no longer feel them. He can no longer connect with them. And so the way that Charles sees it, all of them have died. And so the mutant massacre is taking such a heavy toll on his mind, while Charles lives with the consequences of his actions. This is where we jump over to the day after the Hellfire Gala. We are picking up with Sebastian Shaw. And of course, Sebastian Shaw, he betrayed mutant kind, now partnering up with Orchis. They have come to give him the cure, and Sebastian Shaw takes this cure willingly. For him, this is no problem at all. In his mind, he was never really a mutant. He just had a mutant gene. But the first question that he must ask, how rich am I? Because he just sold out mutant kind. He's expecting to get a whole windfall of money. But his funds, they remain unchanged. This is where he becomes irate. Krakoa is his. He owns the entire island, but he does not own the country's finances. They're not sure exactly where Krakoan money is, but man, is Shaw about to find out. This is where Shaw throws on his coat and he heads to the Hellfire Club. As he goes to his ritual circle, this is where he summons Mother Righteous. The deal that they had struck was that Sebastian Shaw would get the country's worth of funds. All the money that Krakoa had was supposed to go into his bank account. This is where Mother Righteous tells him that he is being naive. You're acting like you made a deal with a businesswoman, when the truth is, you made a deal with a magician, with a speller, with a storyteller. At this point, he's recognizing that he is getting screwed over. He vows that he will destroy Mother Righteous. And Mother Righteous knows that he might try, but he broke the magic circle of their little quiet council. And when you do something like that, that puts you in danger. This is where the soldiers move in on Sebastian Shaw. They let him know that his membership to the Hellfire Gala has been revoked, because the Hellfire Gala, they have a brand new owner, with the men escorting Sebastian Shaw outside. This is where he learns the truth. The new owner of the Hellfire Gala is Wilson Fisk. The Kingpin is the new White King. This is the deal that Emma Frost and Kingpin had made, putting the Hellfire Club into the hands of somebody that is not a mutant. This keeps the Hellfire Club going. It keeps it off the radar of Orcus. And this is when Emma Frost goes ahead and has a little conversation with Shaw, telepathically communicating with him. She tells him that he went for the short trade, that he left so much money on the table, that he could have been truly rich if he had stuck by mutant kind. But now, he is asking for scraps from their table, when Sebastian Shaw comes to outside the Hellfire Gala. Sebastian Shaw is not giving up. His superpower has always been the ability to turn cents into billions. One of the best businessmen on the planet, but also one of the most corrupt. Regardless, he is making arrangements. He wants to begin the exploitation of Krakoa immediately. He's going for the surface resources, salvage anything that is not nailed down. And Krakoa, a living island currently in semi-hibernation. They want to make sure that that stays that way. Once they are assured that this is going to stay asleep, they begin their mining, exploring the underground labs. Not only that, but whoever is in the pit, they are also going for. He wants to see what Orcus will pay for Sinister. If they don't offer him enough money, they'll simply kill him on principle. But they want to attempt to control this sleeping giant. And then maybe they can start a bioengine of making anything Forge could do. Anything that Forge did, he wants to profit off of. But as we pick up weeks later, we have Sebastian Shaw and Selene. And we are seeing that the exploitation of Krakoa is not going as planned. They haven't even got to stage 1. They are at stage 0. This is because anytime anybody comes onto the island, giant monsters are appearing and scaring them off the island. There is something or someone that is preventing anybody from stepping foot on that island. This is what takes us back over to Charles. With Emma Frost reaching out, she knows that he can hear. She is telling Charles not to give up hope, because right now Emma Frost is worried about him. He may think that all those mutants died, but none of them can be sure of that. Just because he can't sense them doesn't mean that they are dead. Emma Frost is reaching out to all of their contacts. T'Challa, Reed, Doctor Strange, anybody that might listen. But Charles has fully accepted that their children are dead. This is where we see an advanced attack team making their arrival on Krakoa. As they put boots on ground, we see some horrible monsters appear, and these monsters quickly scare off anybody that might step foot here. But these are just manifestations. This is Charles protecting Krakoa. As long as he lives, he will not let the memory of all those mutants be desecrated. He would rather the air be torn from his very lungs. That as long as he lives, this island will be a monument to all of those lost. Charles Xavier has dubbed himself the sole protector of Krakoa. This is where we hop over to Nowhere and No When. We find ourselves in the middle of the desert. We have Hope, Exodus, and Destiny. With all of them getting up to their feet, they don't really know where they are. But Destiny can see nothing. She may be a blind woman, but she has always had the ability to get glimpses of the future. But now, that future is blind to her. There is nothing but white space. And even more than that, she doesn't know where her wife is. As she begins to panic and freak out, this is where Hope slaps her across the face. The truth is, Destiny is a stone cold bee. That is what Hope has always liked about her, and Hope is telling her that you need to get your stuff together. And then Exodus lets us know that they are not the only ones here. There are 250,000 other minds here. None of them are Mystique or the rest of the 5. It is the whole population of Krakoa, the ones Xavier forced through the portals. They were meant to arrive on Araco. Instead, they are here. They are lost in the desert, having an entire city full of people. Most of them have no useful mutant powers. They have no food. They have no water. Some of them still wearing formal wear. The question now remains, what are we going to do? And this is where Exodus does what Exodus does. He calls out to all the mutants. Like Moses to his people, he tells them that they will survive the desert, just like he did so long ago, that this desert will transform them. They are now mutant pilgrims, and Exodus is going to lead them to the promised land. He has seen this in a vision so very long ago, that they are the people of Krakoa, that they only have each other. They have only ever had each other. And whether they live or die, they will live and die together, pointing the direction and telling them all to follow him. While Hope is a little bit unsure, she asks what is in that direction, and what he says is the promised land. And he doesn't truly know this, but Exodus has faith that he knows what to do. From the book of Exodus, the whole mutant people were cast out from Krakoa. They came to the desert, and in the desert, the whole community grumbled against Exodus and Hope. The mutants said to them, "If only we had died by Orcus' hand. In Krakoa, we sat around pots of plenty. We ate food. But you have now brought us out here into this desert to starve this entire assembly to death. And that will be the end of this issue." So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This has just taken a very interesting turn. Like Moses leading the Jews through the desert, it is so very Christian biblical. What's funny is this comes directly out of the book of Exodus in the Christian Bible. And so I absolutely love the connections. While I may be an atheist, the stories of the Bible are very interesting. Moses leading his people from the desert is one of those stories. And that's exactly what we're getting here. Now, obviously, this isn't the exact same thing, but you would be a fool not to recognize the connections. This looks more like a prophecy that is about to be fulfilled. Exodus has always said that Hope is the chosen one. Hope is the savior. And it seems like this might actually be the case. Now, Exodus is leading them out of the desert to the promised land. This is true. But Exodus, much like Moses never believed himself to be the chosen one. Outside the fact that God had commanded him to lead the people, he was just the vessel that was used to save all of them. And that's the same situation we have with Exodus. Now, obviously, there are going to be moments where people doubt him. There will be moments where mutants might think about turning on him. It is hard to keep the faith when you have no food, no water, and you walk along a desert not knowing what might be on the other dune. But I think we are about to see one of the biggest developments of not only Exodus, but also of Hope. I think Hope is finally about to fill those shoes she was always prophesied to do. And we have finally gotten an answer on what happened to those 250,000 mutants. Obviously, many of us speculated, like myself, that they didn't actually die. Now, Charles believed that they died, but that's because he doesn't have any connection to know where and know when. That's why he's not able to sense them. He's not able to detect them in any way, shape, or form. But now we know for certain that these mutants are alive. At least for now. I wonder, Mother Righteous had grabbed the other island that was out there. The one that was really just thrown to the side by Marvel writers. It was unutilized and untouched for so long. Mother Righteous grabbed hold of that. And could this be the promised land? Are we gonna find an oasis out in the desert in nowhere and no when? Either way, it is going to be very interesting to see their journey through the desert, to see the trials and tribulations that they must face. And last but not least, Sebastian Shaw. He is no longer a mutant, doing so willingly, because above all things, he is a businessman. He is money hungry. He will do whatever it is to line his pockets with as much money as he could possibly get. But he is soon realizing, quickly seeing, that he made the wrong choice. He went against Emma Frost. He went against mutant kind. He has aligned himself with Orcus. And if being Orcus isn't bad enough, he has added the title of traitor to that list. He helped contribute to the mutant massacre even if it's indirectly. And mutant kind is pissed. You have messed with Emma Frost, and man, is this not gonna be pretty. So let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories, If you would like to get caught up on everything that is going on with the Fall of X, I have made a specific playlist that'll get you caught up on everything that is going on with the Fall. Every single issue, every single tie-in, anything that has to do with the Fall, you will find in that playlist. It is in the description and it is at the top of this video. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership, much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. If you are unable to do that, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.